Thumbtack presents Uncertainty Strikes. I was surrounded. The aisle and the options were closing in. There were paint rollers, satin and matte finish, angle brushes, and natural bristles. There were too many choices. What if I never got my living room painted? What if I couldn't figure out what type of paint to use? What if I just used Thumbtack? I can hire a top-rated pro that knows everything about interior paint, easily compare prices, and read reviews. Thumbtack knows homes. Download the app today.
It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're joined once again by Mike Folta, radio voice of the Utah Mammoth. Mike, sorry to interrupt your summer, but thanks for joining us.
You guys wretched me out of a bachelor weekend that went a little too long here on a Memorial Day in the Midwest, but having fun watching the Stanley Cup Playoffs, guys. What an unbelievable sequence of events that the Vegas Golden Knights, who beat the Utah Mammoth, would end up sweeping the President's Trophy, winning Colorado Avalanche in 4 games in the conference finals. And now we have at least one team that has their ticket punched to the Stanley Cup Finals or final. It's NBA Finals, by the way, with an S, Stanley Cup Final, for those of you who don't know. I forgot this and was reminded on Twitter. My defense is that Utah has not reached the final yet, so still brushing up on my grammar in that sense. But, guys, it's good to hear from you. Golf game is as bad as you'd expect it to be, and we've got playoff hockey going on.
We often hear in other sports, particularly at the college level, when there's such uneven scheduling and so forth, the comparative scores, we beat you by whatever, and then you beat Alabama by whatever. So, man, we could be in it playing Alabama. We've all heard that game, right? And it ends up with Portland State should be in the Final Four or something crazy like that, right? We've all seen
the transitive property.
Yeah. So how much do you buy what we've seen here in this most recent round versus what the Mammoth were able to do? Because obviously, except for basically that last game, it was anybody's puck game, so to speak. And can we draw? How much can we draw? Like how close the Mammoth are?
I think you can pull it from both sides, because on one side you could say Utah was 2 overtimes away from beating Vegas in 5 games.
Right.
In 5 games, guys. They had a 2-1 series lead, and they lost games 4 and 5 in overtime. If you can find a way to get a bounce in each of those overtimes, you're moving on, not just in 6 or 7 games, in 5 games against a Vegas team that is representing the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup Final. I think the other side of it, though, is this Vegas team seems to be gathering steam as they're moving along. Remember, John Tortorella, the head coach for the Golden Knights, we've talked about this. He took over with 8 games left, right? Yeah. So I think their runway has been longer than maybe a team that has been together with the same head coach for a full 82 games. So I think they've only gotten better and better. Now they had some injuries in the last round and a half. Mark Stone, their captain, missed some time. Getting him back was huge in these conference finals. And Colorado, you had Cale Makar, maybe the best defenseman in the world, was playing at 50% when he was in the lineup. He was clearly battling something. Nathan McKinnon didn't look like himself. I don't believe he had a goal in the 4-game series against Vegas. So I think Vegas has been on the up. They've been ascending as John Tortorella continues to learn the nuances of that room. I don't think you can say he's learning anymore, because they're humming along and they just vanquished the almighty Avalanche. But I think there was a bit of a ramp up for them. So that's one side of it. The other side is, boy, Utah was right there from not just advancing, but maybe making a deep run. And is it crazy to say be where Vegas is? But that's the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can say woulda, coulda, shoulda all the way to the final.
Wait a second. So it's the Stanley Cup Final, but it's the playoffs? That's confusing.
It's a Stanley Cup Final because hockey wants to make it about the series, not each individual game. So it's not the finals, like the final games. It's the final series.
But why isn't
That's
it the
what I read.
playoff versus the playoffs?
Because there are multiple playoff series. But
Yeah, but there are
only one
multiple
Stanley Cup
games.
Final. Nice. This is
We
what
got
he
Gary
does,
Bettman
man.
on line one.
You can't buy into this, Mike. He'll just drag you in circles and wreck the segment.
All I know is if you say Stanley Cup Finals with an S, someone's going to comment on it on Twitter. Found that out the hard way.
So Tortorella, 19 wins, 4 losses, and they had the one shootout loss in the regular season. That is spectacular. What? And I don't really think PK does either, buy into these midseason coaching change. And like maybe once a decade it pays off if you track every sport. The Marlins did it in 2003 with Jack McKeon. The Cavs did it with Ty Lue and LeBron in 2016. And now here with Tortorella. Now they haven't won it all yet, but they were in the final. But what has he got that they took a team that was honestly scrambling to make it, win the division,
right,
and go 19-4-1.
You got Don Mattingly with the Phillies this year.
Maybe Don Mattingly's going to do it with the Phillies. But again, even that earlier in the year makes more sense to me than 8 games left in the season. Yeah.
Well, a couple things at play. One is that Vegas is known for being a cutthroat organization. They had Conn Smythe winner Jonathan Marchessault, and they didn't re-sign him. They had the playoffs MVP, and they basically let him walk in free agency. They fired Bruce Cassidy, a guy who won a Stanley Cup with them in 2023. They fired him 8 games before the end of the regular season. And in hockey, a lot of times we do see a new coach bump, like a new message kind of lights a spark within the group. That's not uncommon. But the number one thing that you can point to with the coaching change is John Tortorella tapping Carter Hart in net.
Yeah.
The goaltender for the Vegas Golden Knights. He was he joined the team earlier this year. He spent 2 years away from the game going through a legal process. He was acquitted of those charges. He joins the team, I believe, in December, and was just kind of okay, not great early in the year. But at the end of the season, he caught fire. John Tortorella had Carter Hart as his goaltender in Philadelphia. So that's kind of his guy. Mm-hmm. And Vegas had, I think, the second worst goaltending in the National Hockey League throughout the regular season. They were always an elite defensive team, but they just couldn't get a save. So like we get these analytic reports before every game, every series. And during round 1 against the Golden Knights, we're looking at these analytics saying, oh my gosh, like Vegas is one of the most elite teams at suppressing shots. They're one of the top 1 or 2 teams at keeping the puck out of dangerous areas. They just can't get a stop. They weren't able to get a save all season. Carter Hart comes in and was pretty good to end the regular season. Was, I thought, just okay in the first round series against Utah, but he did have a slight edge over Karel Vejmelka. And then he's found his stride these last 2 series against Anaheim and against Colorado. He's got himself a .924 save percentage in the playoffs so far, which I believe is the best in the postseason right now. So goaltending is probably the number one storyline for the Golden Knights, but it took that new coach to have confidence in Carter Hart to make that goaltending switch. Another interesting thing about the coaching change is that Bruce Cassidy, the coach who was fired, a very successful coach, but it's kind of gotten out that his message maybe can wear on guys. Like he coaches his team hard. He drives them hard. And so you fire him, you cut him loose, and you bring in John Tortorella, who is also known for the exact same thing. Like sometimes you go from good cop to bad cop or from bad cop to good cop. A lot of times you'll see a defensive-minded coach get fired and an offensive-minded coach come in. But usually when there's a coaching replacement, especially midseason, it's a coach of the opposite nature. But Tortorella is cut from the same intensity cloth that Bruce Cassidy was. So it's been interesting to see just a new face, a new voice has made all the difference, even if they're both motivators, or at least in that category of coaches.
Yeah, there's no question he's a salty guy, and I've never heard of a guy who's wins the game, and then has a blackout on the media. What the freak? Yeah, not just the game, but the whole thing. What was that about?
I think it was a categorical fumble by the Vegas Golden Knights. So if you don't know, they win the second round series against Anaheim, and then after the game, a coach and a player are obligated to speak to the media after every single game. Like that is you do it 82 times in the regular season. Like he knows it's coming, and they skipped it. Vegas didn't bring him out. They didn't. We don't know exactly who is at fault here. They gave a statement. It kind of sounded like it was John Tortorella that didn't go out and speak to media, but they lost a second round pick, and Torts got fined 100 G's. Yeah. Like, it's all you do is go out there and say, no comment, we're on to Cincinnati. Like, you could have done that, and you wouldn't have lost a second round pick.
Right.
So
what's this guy think he is, Bob Knight?
Oh, see, now you're getting me going. Bobby Knight. Oh my gosh. I gotta keep my voice down. I'm back in Indiana. Someone's gonna come out. Some Hoosier fan's gonna come out of the bushes and throw a chair at me. Bobby Knight had nothing on Gene Katie in that comb over, by the way.
But, okay, you got me there.
But you lose a second round pick for no reason. Now the thing is, if Vegas goes on to win the Stanley Cup, they're going to be laughing about this, and they might skip some more media availability just because they can. Yeah, and it's going to be a late second round pick. It's not a position in the draft that's particularly fruitful percentage wise, but still that's a bargaining chip. Like that second round pick could get you a third line center at the trade deadline next year. There's no excuse for it, but Vegas is kind of an organization that they don't really care about the status quo too much.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now it's the final days of our Everything's on Sale event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses. Our Memorial Day event ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good night's sleep.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
Okay, but there's people like that in the NFL, and the NFL people have to talk in the offseason. Quarterbacks are talking in the offseason. Coaches are talking. I just picture
Jackson Dart's talking.
Jackson Dart is talking in the offseason at Trump rallies, and I just picture the commissioner and the entire league office just ready to fine everybody and strip draft picks back to the Stone Age. Like, we're going to sell the NFL at old times. We make a ton of money, and we're going to make a bunch more. And it just seems relentless. And these other leagues, whenever I see people kind of stick up their nose, just, we're not going to do any free media. I'm like, why? The NFL does. And they got way more money than you.
I think that's part of it. That's part of it is, like, we clamor for hockey players and coaches to show more personality and not just say, well, we got to get pucks in deep and pucks to the net and things like that. Like, we clamor for this, and there's such an appetite for seeing the human element of these coaches and players and getting to know them more. And so I think that you're absolutely right. DJ is like, there's a league initiative here that's being trampled on when Torts doesn't come out. Also, guys, it was after a win. It was after a series win. Yeah. Like, it's not like you just got boat raced or your season's over and you don't want to talk. It's after a win. Like, just go out and smile. He literally could have said, I'm just here so I don't get fined, and he wouldn't have gotten fined.
The season ended for the Mammoth, but it continued for some of the young guys. You've been able to follow their progress and how close are we getting to some of these dudes coming to pass with the big club.
Well, how many times, I'll ask you guys, how many times have we said, oh, this is a young Utah team? the last 2 years.
Right.
I mean, is that not one of the storylines?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think it's crazy to think that this Utah team could get even younger based on who's coming and the young guys who could potentially make the team out of camp. You've got T.J. Gendler right now playing in the Memorial Cup. That's kind of a round robin tournament of all the junior leagues in Canada to see who is the dominant team, the dominant league of the CHL. You had Gabe Smith and Caleb Denoyer competing in their respective junior leagues championship series. And Gabe Smith, a former fourth round pick, he got the playoff MVP in the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League, even though his team lost the series. That's how good he was. So him and Denoyer are teammates, or were teammates in Moncton. Hopefully they'll be teammates in Utah soon. Gabe Smith is a name to watch. If you want to sound smart at the water cooler, bring up Gabe Smith. He's 6'4". They list him at like 225, guys. He could, I don't know, run a gap scheme for Coach Scally, or at least like you can move him around the formation as a tight end or something. This guy is enormous, and he scores goals by the boatloads. He's kind of a sleeper. We talked to him the other day, and he's a small town kid from New Brunswick, Canada. It's like just east of Maine. He's a small town kid, kind of got buried in juniors. And then they had a coaching change. This new coach believed in him. And all of a sudden he's producing like a first round pick. And he's 6'4". And like he talked about how he never had skill before. He was just big, but now he's big and has skill. Now he's big and he's scoring. And he won the playoff MVP in his league. So he's a guy that would be a dark horse to make the team, probably going to be in the American Hockey League this next year. But it's super exciting to see the growth of some of these guys, because you look at the three major junior leagues in Canada. So that's the WHL, the OHL, and the QMJHL. And the Mammoth had either the top scorer or the top points per game guy in every single one of those leagues.
There are probably, I would say you can probably debate based on the size of their role with the club, but there are probably about a half dozen guys in their 30s in roles for the Mammoth. And you do want to get younger, but you don't want to get too young. Yeah. What's the balance there? Which of those guys in their 30s you think still remain the immediate future for the team, and how many guys might they be looking to move on from?
Well, you have some unrestricted free agents, so some decisions have to be made, and a lot of the unrestricted or restricted free agents are centers coming up, which is going to be really interesting to see how Bill Armstrong addresses this, because guys like Alex Kerfoot, who's been called the brains of the operation, he's a Swiss Army knife, kills penalties, he's a center, he's a UFA. Kevin Stenlund is your top penalty killer, your top faceoff man, he's a UFA. He was your fourth line center all year. Barrett Hayton can play a number of different roles, very versatile as well. He's a restricted free agent. So some decisions have to be made on those guys. I mean, you still have your core, right? Like, no matter who comes up this next year, which young guys make the team, like the core of the team that's going to push for the playoffs next year is still going to be Clayton Keller, Nick Schmaltz, Lawson Krause, Logan Cooley, Dylan Gunther, Mikhail Sergachev. Like those are your pillars still. Those guys aren't going anywhere. You just signed Schmaltz to the contract extension. Cooley and Gunther are on big contract extensions as well. So those guys aren't going anywhere. But I think it's going to be interesting to see, yes, not just who makes the team out of camp from the young guys, but does Bill make any moves to bring in another one of those established players in the offseason? He did that a little bit in free agency last year. He has a history of doing that with trades, especially during the NHL draft. And the Mammoth have a ton of A, draft capital, and B, future prospects. So you've got this war chest of assets. Can you flip some of those future assets into established players to help you win now?
So you said that you are participating or have participated in some form of bachelor weekend. So I guess congratulations are in order. When's the big date?
It's not my bachelor weekend. No, it's my best friend, who's also a broadcaster, by the way. He's the voice of the North Dakota State Bison, who just jumped up to FBS in football. I believe they're in the Mountain West now.
Yeah.
So that's an awesome program. Guys, I would call into their show under the pseudonym Mike from Minot and just throw in some wild like Nebraska takes into their radio show to stir the pot a little bit. But yes, congrats to Sam in a couple weeks. I had him throw out the first pitch at a Major League Baseball game or a minor league baseball game. And then he did the dizzy bat race. If you can get a bachelor to do the dizzy bat race, it was
that always makes me queasy every time I watch it.
Well, Sam had like one beer and like 3 hours ago because he didn't want to drink before the dizzy bat race. And so he does the race and he can't stand up. Like he's so dizzy, spun around for 30 seconds. He can't stand up.
Man,
the whole crowd thinks he's hammered. Yeah, the whole crowd was booing him because they thought he was trashed. I'm like, no, he's sober as a drum. He's fighting the G's right now.
Man, having a friend call into your radio show, what a cheap trick. I can't believe people do that.
Oh, I know.
All right, Mike. I'll tell you the backstory to that later. All right. Thanks for joining us, talking a little Stanley Cup Final. See? I'm going to learn from your mistake. I'm going to make it myself. I'll get beat up on Twitter for another reason. I don't need to get beat up for that reason. I'll find something unique. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your downtime, and we'll talk to you again.
Yeah, God bless, guys. Tuss up.
There it is. Tuss up. Mike Folta, Utah Mammoth radio voice, joining us right here. Vegas, what an incredible turnaround. Winners of 19 of their last 24, and they're in the Stanley Cup Final. The coaching change paying off.
Yeah.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
When equipment breaks down and operations come to a halt, every single second counts. So why is your maintenance team spending 60% of their time doing anything but turning wrenches? MaintainX is the AI-powered maintenance and asset management system that helps your team get back to actually fixing breakdowns. No more searching for manuals. No more hunting down parts. No more drowning in paperwork. With MaintainX, your team can access manuals from anywhere, create new procedures in minutes, and turn voice notes into clear and complete work order feedback. What used to take hours now only takes minutes. Keep your operations moving and your wrenches turning. Join over 13,000 maintenance teams that are already fixing more and filing less. Try MaintainX for free today. Go to maintainx.com/AI. That's maintain and the letter X.com/AI.